Hi, everyone. I'm Teri.
And I'm Ella.
Welcome to the Chasing Red Flags podcast, Let's Get Real.
Here, no topic is off limits.
And real beats perfect every time.
Welcome to the conversation.
Welcome to where you belong.
You're part of the family now, so let's get real together. Hi, Ma. How are ya?
Hi, sweetie. I miss you.
Miss you too. Hi, everyone. Before we officially start, we want to say thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your support more than you know. Please subscribe to the Chasing Red Flags podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to yours. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch all of the episodes.
It feels so weird to not be in the same space right now. How you doing?
I'm sad. I miss you, obviously. And especially at this moment, I want to preface I have a little bit of a cold. So I'm feeling sick and I wish that I had my mom to take care of me. But I really love my new setup in my apartment and I have my own bed and I'm just content. It's really comfy.
Well, it looks beautiful. Your room looks clean, which is very nice.
Thank you. And for anyone new or who is listening and can't see us right now, we're kind of freaking out a little bit because for season 1, as we called it, we did all of our episodes together in our living room in Boston. And for now, for season 2, I'm back at college and I just moved into my apartment for my junior year and my mom is holding down the fort at home.
I am officially an empty nester, which feels so strange to me because I have never been without kids at my house. So the house definitely feels empty and I miss you. And it's been a couple weeks though, so I'm adjusting.
Yeah, I'm still adjusting too. I think it's safe to say that my emotions are definitely all over the place and I'm not going to get emotional. But as we're going through this change, I know you're going through it too. I think we thought this was just the perfect episode and topic to talk about.
I mean, I think if we're feeling all of the changes right now, a lot of other people are probably feeling change. You know, fall is a season of change and new starts and fresh starts. So, to reference my favorite saying, if it's not shared, it's stored.
So we are going to be sharing a lot. Plus, we also heard from a bunch of you after last season's college episode, and we had just barely scratched the surface. So we are going to dig into things all college life now that it is my junior year. So I've been here 3 years, so I have a little bit more insight.
I still can't believe it's your third year in college.
So weird.
Like, in some ways, it went by so slow, and then in some ways, it's gone by so fast.
I agree.
So, with that, let's get real about college and empty nesting. We've heard from a lot of our listeners on social media and DMs about our college episode and how that resonated with them. And I think for anybody listening, this is going to be a helpful episode. How does it make you feel that we've gotten so much feedback about the college episode?
It makes me so happy. And I do think if anybody hasn't listened to that episode before, I think it would be very helpful to go back and listen. I'll try and give a really quick version overall so far of my college experience. But I had a very, very tough freshman year.
You did.
I did. I felt very prepared going into it. I was really excited to leave, no offense to you, but from high school and my experiences, and nothing ended up turning out the way that I thought it was supposed to. And it took me a very long time to find my people, and that was okay, but it took a long time to adjust to the lack of privacy and the lack of sleep and the social schedule, and my classes were very hard. And then just to add on top of that, I had my first panic attack. I had a lot of anxiety and I was trying to maintain a long distance relationship at the time.
I don't mean to laugh, but it was like the perfect storm of everything
Yes.
together.
Mm-hmm.
It was very stressful. And I hate to add one more thing into it, but you, I think, struggled a lot with what people do struggle with, which is you had so much time.
Yes.
And having that much time in a way made you feel lonely.
Yes. I felt like I had never had that free time in high school before. I was either in school or I had played a sport. I was dancing, tennis, whatever I was doing. So in college, it kind of felt like everything was just crashing down on me at the same time. And I was drowning and I really couldn't figure out a way to swim to the surface.
That's a great analogy, sweetie.
Thank you.
I think what everyone needs to know is that that's all very normal. And for any parent or student listening that this sounds familiar to, know that it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. It takes time. It takes time.
It does. A lot of time. I think that being at college is a very big life change. And it really was for me. It was the first time that I was out on my own and I was independent. And I felt like I had independence in high school, but you're not here. And so it kind of felt like at the time I was losing a lot, leaving the comfort of my own home. But I was also gaining so much from being at college because that's where I've learned a lot of my life skills. So, my advice to everybody is just to not be so hard on yourself because it's okay to feel like you don't belong right away. That's very normal.
So normal. And can I be mushy for a second?
Yeah, of
Like, you
course.
just,
I love mushy.
you've come so far in 2 years. So I'm so proud of you. And I know it's a lot of work. I think in high school, we as parents spend so much time working on you guys being successful and working on our children, feeling successful, that we don't spend enough time working on when you're not successful. At least I would say I'm generalizing. I didn't spend enough time working on how to train you and teach you how, when you're not successful, how to handle things.
I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I have learned also. And I feel like in college, it really is your life. So if you don't like something, you have the power to change it. You cannot and don't need to feel stuck. If you don't like the people you're hanging out with, make new friends, meet new people. If you don't like your classes or your major, change it. I did change mine and it was the best decision. Things will get better if you're willing to kind of make those changes. You do have to give it time. I gave it time. It's starting to work out, but I feel like that's what everybody needs to remember.
And it's not that easy to make those changes.
No,
It's
it's not.
really hard, and you have to have a lot of patience and give it time.
Yes, and there is power in patience.
Oh, she's
You
using
taught me that.
she's using my lines against
I
me.
Are you proud of me?
I am. It's funny when I say things to you and then I hear it coming back at me as a mom. You're like, "Ooh, I did something right."
You taught me well.
And now that you're a junior, what has that been like for you so far?
I mean, so far it's been absolutely incredible. I have no complaints. I am in my first apartment, and it is the first time that I have my own bedroom and my own bathroom.
So, that's pretty incredible, and you're very
Yes.
lucky. How would you say that apartment compares to your first couple of living experiences? I know it's a huge difference.
Yes, very. I would say that freshman year, I was in a very loud and tiny dorm room with a roommate who I loved, but we could literally like touch our feet across like from the middle of each other's beds. It was so small. And we just kind of shared a girls' bathroom with all of the girls on our floor. So it was a lot.
Yes. So I can agree that your bathrooms were gross, but more specifically, in your actual dorm room, for those of you listening, there were pipes that were coming down in your closet.
Yeah.
You kind of didn't get the best option for rooms.
Hmm.
And there was water coming down. So you always had bugs. And you would
Yes.
have small little spiders and cockroaches in your room. And you would literally call me screaming and yelling, and that you called maintenance every single day. And my response to you as a mom was, "Are you eating in your room? Because I know you love to eat in your room. And could that possibly be the issue because there's crumbs everywhere?"
So I think I really am blaming it on the pipes and the water. The maintenance guy that we talked to, who came to our dorm all the time, said it was specifically from that. I have become more clean and more neat since then. I hate bugs, but I will never give up eating in my room. Sorry.
And then you will always have bugs.
Well, I'll have to deal.
But I don't think you had them the next year. So
No.
sophomore year, you lived in the sorority house.
Yes, I was in the sorority house, and it was basically dorm living, but it was just 36 girls all sleeping and eating and doing everything together. So it was definitely a lot.
And there was a lot less privacy in the sorority house than there actually was in the dorm.
Yes, yes.
So what's your first impression being in an apartment and actually being more independent?
I mean, I love absolutely everything about it. Obviously, I know how incredibly lucky I am to have my own bathroom and bedroom, and not everybody has that. It just is really nice. I can just do my homework in my room, and I can talk on the phone without somebody being next to me, and I can get up and turn on and off the light whenever I want to, which is actually more important than you would think it is. And I can do this podcast without having to kick somebody out of the room.
Very true. But I would say that you're extremely lucky because you have had, which some people don't, incredible roommates all 3 years. So
Yes.
freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, all good roommates. And realistically, if you kicked any of them out to do the podcast, they would have left.
Absolutely, and that's so true. But I would say location wise, I love the apartment the best.
Of course you do.
I mean, it's near the bars. So, one of the best parts is that we have a huge living room and a kitchen, and the apartment came with a 50-inch screen TV. So, we can finally have like pre games here and watch movies and cook dinner. And I finally feel a lot more independent. At the dorm, we had an RA who was like on our floor checking in on us. And in the sorority house, we had like a house mom. So, here I'm actually the only one that's responsible for what I do. And it's very nice.
I love that you said we can have the pre-games here.
Yes. I think, well, I feel like, at least for me, that is probably one of the best parts of girl bonding, being able to like hang out with each other and talking and taking pictures and laughing before we all go out. Like, I would rather do that than actually go out.
And part of also being responsible, I just feel like as a parent, I have to say this, is now that you have bills, watching
Yes.
how long you take a shower, but more importantly, turning the lights off when you leave the apartment. You now have an electric bill. And so, along with independence, becomes paying attention to those details, which we know you did not do at home because your dad's biggest pet peeve was that you did not turn the lights off in the house.
I mean, way to call me out, but you are right. And I know he used to leave yellow sticky notes on all of the light switches in the house that would say, "Turn me off." And honestly, like thinking about it now, I kind of miss that. But I have been very, very good with turning off the lights, and living in an apartment does come with a lot of different responsibilities. Nobody's taking out my trash for me. Nobody's cleaning the bathrooms like they did in the dorm in the sorority house. We are truly responsible for everything. And I feel like you would be pretty proud of me. I am cleaning and I'm keeping everything neat. And as you can see, my desk looks pretty good.
I know,
So
it actually
I
does.
feel like I'm doing okay.
I can't wait to see that for myself when I'm there.
Oh, yes. And you will. And you'll probably check everything and make sure all my clothes are folded in my drawers too. But I will say another thing that I do love is that I have my own washer and dryer in the apartment. I do laundry all the time. So I just feel cleaner in general.
So now that you're living with fewer people, how's the social scene?
Honestly, also great. My apartment is basically like the social hub for a lot of my girl and guy friends. So it's a lot easier to be social and see everybody. We're like running around the apartment building for like food and pre games and to share clothes. And it's given me a wider variety of seeing all of my friends now that we're not in our sorority house or in one specific dorm. Everybody's all mixed together. So I would genuinely say that the social part is a lot better than before and it's a lot easier access, especially when I want my own privacy. I can just go back to my room in my apartment.
Okay, so I think this is crazy. I'm just going to say this in advance, but
Okay.
we had to sign a lease for you for your senior housing and senior house at the end of your sophomore year.
Yes.
So, and I do get some questions here and there. So, for anyone that's, thinking about housing, or any parent that's thinking about where their child's going to live for a year from now or even 2 years from now,
Mhm.
what would be your tips or advice for them this early in the year?
I mean, it is crazy. I am agreeing with you on that. I'm not sure what it is like at other schools, but I do think it's pretty similar. If you want to live like on a house off campus, which a lot of seniors do, you kind of have to book it like a year to a year and a half early. There are 6 of us living in a house for senior year, and we signed our lease at the end of sophomore year. The end of sophomore year, that's 2 years in advance. And I just feel like a ton of people already signed theirs even before we did. So it's crazy.
So, any advice to someone who wants to live off campus? Like, what are you telling them to do?
Honestly, start talking to other people and look at houses earlier than you think you need to because you'd rather have a lot more options than not. Like, take tours, get to know the people in the house, like, the connections will help you, and sometimes they'll be able to pass it down to you so it works out.
That's supply and demand for you, right?
It really is.
I think as a parent, one of the things that I am most proud of you for, but also just it's situational. But freshman year, you lived in a dorm. Sophomore year, you lived in a sorority house. Junior year, you're living in an apartment. And senior year, you're living in a house, which will be, in some senses, a downgrade from your nice apartment because you're, living in an old house and on a different street a little ways away. But I
Yep.
feel like you're learning a lot about life and kind of what environments you want to live in and how many people you want to live with. These are all great learning experiences, cooking in the kitchen with people, having a backyard with people.
Yes. Absolutely. And I feel like I've had a different experience every year. So I'm excited for this. And I'm excited to be in a house and have a backyard and be able to grill and have a table outside. I just feel like it's going to be really fun.
What are you most looking forward to for this year, which is junior year?
I'm really starting to feel more settled and comfortable in life. Not totally. I'm working on it, but I'm feeling a lot better than I did the past 2 years. And honestly, I'm just very excited to be back with my friends at school in a happy, healthy place mentally. And I'm going to a few concerts soon and I'm turning 21. So I
Yes.
really have a lot to look forward to.
You are turning 21.
21.
That's
It's crazy.
crazy.
Oh my God, I don't even like saying it out loud.
Is there anything you're nervous about?
I will say my academic year is the hardest by far. So, I mean, since I'm in the business school, all my classes are now the required business classes for my specific major. So, I've already taken all of my electives, so it's going to be a very heavy lift semester and probably whole year. So, I'm excited though. I feel like I'm interested in everything I'm taking and it's going to help me with everything I'm doing for this company and what I want to do in life, but it's going to be hard.
Yeah. Well, you picked your schedule and you overloaded with hard classes, and I'm not
Yes.
blaming you. I know it's gonna be a tough
No,
semester, but it's what you
I chose
wanted.
to do it. You told me not to.
Yes. So it's a few weeks into the school year, and for anyone that hasn't listened to the podcast before and they're listening for the first time, what would you say?
Honestly, if you're a freshman, just breathe and know that it will eventually work out and it's going to be okay, even when it doesn't feel like it. Trust me, I was there. Sometimes I still feel like I'm there, but it's going to be okay. Academically, my biggest piece of advice is to go to your office hours. Whatever you do, go to office hours like they're a class, put them in your schedule, like a time period, get to know your professors and your TAs, build those relationships. If you're not already doing that, do it now.
One of your teachers last year, and I think that's great advice, and we talked about that a lot. I said to put
Yeah,
your office hours in your
in
calendar
my schedule.
like they are an actual class.
Yep,
So you feel like you have to go to it. That's if you put them in there like it's a class and you go to it, I think that makes a huge difference. And
exactly.
last year, one of your teachers, because you went every week, you did have to reschedule an exam. And I feel like it's something that he didn't normally do. And I feel like he might have done it because you had that close relationship with
I
him.
absolutely agree with that.
So, what about socially? What would be your advice socially?
I mean, this is probably going to be a bunch of random things like jumbled, but I would say get to know as many people as possible wherever you go because you never know who you're going to meet and where you're going to meet them. You can meet your best friend at a class or in an elevator or in the bathroom at a bar if they're helping you. Like, you never know. I think also you have to remember that everyone is connected in some sort of way. So be very careful what you're saying and who you're saying it to.
All very good advice. I feel
Yes.
like that's good advice for any point in your life, and especially high school and even middle school and elementary school, but also
Everything.
obviously college.
Yes.
So since we're all about being real and we're trying to help people, Ella, and I'm just throwing this at you. So if you're not comfortable talking about it, do you want to tell your
What do
ambulance story from freshman year?
Okay, yeah, I'll share it. I do think it's probably something that I should share only because I think it's going to be helpful for some of you guys listening to hear that it does happen.
And for some parents to hear from my
Yes.
perspective.
Absolutely. So one night in my second semester of freshman year, I just drank way too much. I was in a really bad place mentally at the time, and I was just trying to, drown my sorrows by drinking alcohol. And I'm not really a big drinker, so I don't have a very big tolerance. I'm on Lexapro for my anxiety, and I was also on antibiotics for something at the time. So it was really stupid to be drinking. And I ended up in a bathroom throwing up for hours. I got to a point where I was like not responsive at all. And so the girls that were taking care of me got really scared and they ended up calling an ambulance and I was taken away to the hospital.
So I'm going to interrupt to just say, thank God they called an ambulance. And for me as a parent, to know, I guess what I would say is they called an ambulance. They weren't scared that they were going to get in trouble. So my advice to anyone listening is don't worry about getting in trouble. If you have a friend that is not responsive, that has drank too much, that is really sick like that, better to have trouble than a dead friend. And I know that sounds tough and
Yeah,
scary,
I know.
but they did the right thing.
Yes, I was very, very, very thankful for them. And I just want to say this because I feel like people should know it's extremely important and scary. But I was in an ambulance by myself because I was over 18 and I was not responsive. So I couldn't consent to having somebody come with me in the ambulance. That in itself should scare anybody from ever getting that drunk. I was alone, unresponsive, in an ambulance. It's very terrifying to think about.
And terrifying as a parent. And from
Yes.
the parent's perspective, A, that's scary, but also us parents, we're not at school with you. So
No.
I was home. I had absolutely no idea what was going on, which is normal. Parents don't know what their, children are doing in college all the time. And if we didn't have that little rule that we had that I needed to hear from you every couple of hours when you're going out, I wouldn't have known there was anything going on because nobody had called me. So I got to a point where it had been a couple hours, and in my head, I was like, oh, I usually hear from Ella. And so I reached out to one of your friends, and she then told me that you were being taken away in an ambulance.
Yes. So I would say two big lessons for everyone listening. Never, ever drown your sorrows in alcohol and do not drink on antibiotics. It is just very dumb.
Very dumb.
Yes.
So think about it. I'm an out of state parent, and I'm now at this point where I have to figure out what hospital you're going to.
Yep.
And then I have to communicate with the hospital because you're unresponsive. So I'm going to go back to something that I did say in a previous episode. But when I did call the hospital and find out where you were, I was on the phone with the nurse. You were at a small hospital, so they were incredible. So the nurse said to me, I can't tell you that she's at the hospital. And I said, I have the power of attorney form and the healthcare proxy form. And I emailed it to her. And if I did not have those forms, she would have not been able to talk to me. So I know we talked about this in a previous episode, but really, parents, it's so important to have those forms if you have a kid over 18. And this is a perfect reason why. Um, if you're looking for where to get those forms, if you go to the Chasing Red Flags website and you go look up in their blog, Mama Bear Legal Forms wrote a blog for us. We have a coupon for 20% off. You put in Chasing Red Flags 20. It takes about 15 minutes and you can fill out the forms, and it just gives you peace of mind. I'm so lucky I had those forms.
I mean, thank God you did, and I just can't believe I ever put you through that. And I ended up spending the night in the hospital and on IV fluids, and you flew in the next morning and showed up to take care
I did. But
of
I
me.
do want to say you looked horrible.
Yes.
You felt horrible. And I want to say I was happy that you felt horrible
Yeah,
because as a parent, you want your kid to learn their lesson. You didn't need to be punished. You were punishing yourself enough. And you did have to walk out of the hospital with a bracelet that said fall risk.
I did, and that did become my nickname with a few of the girls that took care of me that night. So it ended up being something funny.
I know you can laugh about it now, but that was a pretty big lesson for you.
Very. So overall, that is what I've learned, and anybody listening needs to remember that story and take care of yourselves. But let me just take a break from the hot seat for a second because that was a lot. And before we get into your transition and how you're doing, I'm going to be mushy since you were mushy earlier, but I do want to give you a really big praise for helping Ryan and me with our transition. You have genuinely been our biggest emotional support and the most organized person on this entire earth. And I thank you so much for teaching us how to do that too. Can you give a little background though and tell everybody about the prep that you did to make sure that we were all organized for this big change?
Now you're making me all emotional.
No, stop.
I'm sad. I want you to come home.
I know, I want to give you a hug.
um, oh, so
Talk about the college list. Come
okay,
on.
okay. So I have this crazy big college list that I think has really everything you could ever possibly need on it, more
Everything.
than you need if we're, being honest. And I use that for you. And then I also use that for Ryan, but he's a boy, so he did not need 75% of that list, I would say. If after moving Ryan in, I would say that Ryan would have been happy with a phone charger, his noisemaker because he doesn't like to hear slamming doors, blackout shades because he likes blackout, and food. That's literally all he would have needed.
I agree. I would maybe add Gatorade, but boys are just a lot easier, so that makes sense.
Yes, but I did give him literally, I think, lotion and shampoo for 2 years.
Amazing. He'll be prepared. It's good.
Yes, boys are much easier. Um,
Much, much, much. Okay, so we didn't do what we usually do every year for moving me in.
We
I know it was a big transition. Ryan was going to college as well, so
Yes, it's so weird, and now I'm going through the freshman experience all over again, but with Ryan.
yes.
Usually we drive 8 hours, from Boston to DC or Maryland, and we skipped our stopover. We usually do a stopover, we spend the night, and we see a show, and we have some mommy-daughter time, but we didn't get to do that this year.
No,
It was a
but
little
I do.
stressful.
It was very stressful having 2 kids going to college. It makes sense. I'm not upset about it, but I do highly recommend talking about going to New York, the show and Juliet for anybody that is going to New York City and wants a fun musical, kind of like, oh, it was just amazing. I don't want to spoil anything, so go see it.
It's always hard for me to say goodbye to you, just so you know.
Yes. Oh, trust me, it is. I cry every year.
Always.
I know that it was definitely a lot on you, but I really do have to give you props because there was nothing that I didn't have. I know Ryan didn't need 70% of it, but I also have body wash and probably command hooks for the rest of my life. So you really did think of everything.
Yes, I definitely think there are a lot of things that I didn't need, and we gave a lot of the stuff that I brought for Ryan to people on his floor, which was nice because that was
Yes.
also a way to meet people.
Yeah. But you like to make us feel prepared. And I don't know. It's sad, but it's very hard for us to say goodbye. I know that you are going through this big transition as a parent and you are now an empty nester. There have been a few weeks to adjust, but how are you doing, at least today? Now that we're talking, I feel like it's again and you're happy, but how have you been doing?
I'm emotional, you can see it, like,
Yeah.
I'm, like, looking at you and I'm like, "Oh, I miss you and I wish you were here." It's weird not to be on the same couch,
Yeah.
but it's all part of the process. My emotions change every single day. I feel like my world revolved around you and Ryan for almost 21 years. And it still does in some parts, but now you are moving on to being more independent. I miss your presence. I miss having your friends at the house.
Yeah.
I don't love the quiet. It feels empty here.
But you have Dad and Sadie.
I do have dad and Sadie, and I love your dad so much, but it is definitely not the same as having your kids at home.
Yeah.
And thank God for Sadie because she's smushy and she snuggles with me, and when I need that, like, warmth and love, I'm definitely getting it from our dog. For anyone who's listening that doesn't know that, Sadie's our doggy.
Is she doing okay without us?
No, if I'm being honest, she she really misses you.
Don't tell me that. I'm gonna start
No, she
crying.
misses you. She's so cute. I find her napping in your bed,
No,
and when
don't.
she comes home from her play date, she runs right upstairs to your Ryan's room to see if you guys are here.
That's really sad.
I know, but it's really cute. Her world has changed a lot too.
Can we FaceTime after this episode so I can see her?
Yes.
You wanna go get her right now?
No, but I'm happy to
Okay.
FaceTime you after.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, can we just go back to the first day though? What did like the first day kid free? Can you kind of share what that first morning after you left Ryan, what did that feel like for you?
It felt quiet. I felt a little lost, like, I'm definitely busy, but it felt quiet and a little lonely, but I got up and I did what I always do. I kinda did it when you
Yeah.
guys were here. I sent you a good morning text.
I mean, I love your good morning text. That's my favorite thing, and we'll always do that forever. Did you do anything like around the house right away though? I know you're a crazy organizer, so I assume you had to have done
I
something.
feel like you know that I did.
I
The
know.
first thing I did, I don't know if other parents do this, I stripped your beds
Okay.
and I took off the mattress cover on your mattress, like the mattress pad. I don't think I've changed that in like 4 years.
Ever.
So,
Ew.
I know I've washed it, but it was just gross. So I literally took all the sheets and everything off. I threw the mattress pads out. I bought new mattress pads. I just felt like I wanted you to come home for Thanksgiving and have, like, everything really clean and neat. I did tons of laundry, um, and I put Ryan's Wake Forest sticker on my car, which
Oh,
yeah, because I have a Maryland sticker on my car, and I put a Wake Forest sticker on my car, and it weirdly feels like you guys are with me when I'm driving around and I have the stickers on the car. It's just something that
mm.
gives me comfort.
No, honestly, I totally get that. I probably would do the same thing if I had, like, kids, but I don't, so. Did dad do anything, though?
Okay, do you want me to tell you about dad?
Yeah.
Dad has never been
I'm
handy.
scared.
Dad has never been handy, like,
Okay.
ever. He
No.
has become so handy. He's all over the house. He's fixing things. So last weekend, he spent 5 hours in the backyard. I was, busy working. I wasn't even paying that much attention. He took apart the entire trampoline in the backyard himself into tiny little pieces to have the trash guy come and pick it up. You will no longer have a trampoline when you come home, which is so weird because it's been there since you were in
No.
like third grade.
Wait, that's actually really sad. I feel like all my childhood memories are on that trampoline. Like, it's been there my whole childhood.
Ella, the trampoline was a death trap. Like, think about it. We've never had anyone come fix the screws, tighten it. Like, he said it was so easy. I said, was it hard to come apart? He's like, it was so easy, which is so scary. So it was time for the trampoline to go.
Well, okay, that's fine, but nobody ever got hurt, so we are not a liability, so we're fine. But now it's been a couple weeks, you're settled in, trying to get settled. I'm still trying to get settled. How have things been since that first week?
Honestly, things have been better. We've been communicating. I've been
Yeah.
working really hard. I'm working on our new merch drop, which is fun. And I
Yeah.
walk a lot. That's good for my mental health. So I've been doing a lot of walking.
How are you doing mentally though? I am not your mom, but I'm your daughter, so I do worry just like you do.
I love that about you. You're literally the most empathetic person. Um, you know, I'm not going to say it's easy, but I know that this is exactly what's supposed to happen. We're supposed to raise you to be strong and independent and go out on your own. So I feel like that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. And it's good, and you know that we're always gonna always come back to visit.
Yes, but sweetie, it's different. Now for the first time, you and Ryan are gone and you're not ever going to come here and live here full time again. So it's kind of getting used to that feeling. And that's
Yeah,
definitely a hard adjustment. But if I've done my job, I've taught you to go off on your own and be strong and independent and be a good human. And so knowing that that's what you're doing gives me some kind of comfort. Like, does that sound
that
weird?
makes me happy. No, not at all. That makes sense. Like, I totally get that. Have you okay, this might be I don't know. Have you noticed any differences in how, like, you and dad are handling the changes?
Yeah.
Are you doing things differently?
Yeah. So we have our groove down, right? Because you've been gone for 2 years.
Yep,
He knows I talk to you all the time. So I
yep,
feel like as a parent, like that comfort. But he's used to texting Ryan about sports and texting him about football and asking him questions. And so now he's kind of referring to me because I kind of was that person with you in the beginning. So he's like,
yeah.
am I annoying him? Am I texting him too much? Am I not texting him enough? Like, so he's definitely like a little bit like nervous about contacting him and what's too much and what's not enough.
Wait, that's actually the cutest thing ever.
I know, but I also here's the other side. I also find find him getting jealous. There's like a little
Oh,
competition between us. Last week you called him about an internship
yes.
and he called me and he was like, "Oh, I spoke to Ella this morning. Did you talk to her?" And I wanted to be like, yeah, I spoke to her 3 times this morning," but I caught myself being like, "Oh, no, I haven't talked to her yet. That's so nice that she called you at work." And he seemed so excited that you talked to him and not me.
Oh, okay, wait, I'm dying and I really need to start calling him more, don't make me
There's
sad.
definitely a secret competition between the 2
Oh,
of us of who's talking to whom more.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Oh.
really cute.
Alright, what about Ryan?
I mean, with Ryan, I think it's a little different because I did this with you in the beginning, but you had such a tough time, we were talking so often, right? And
Yeah,
Ryan's really adjusting. He's, a boy, we talk less, there's less communication. We're trying to give him his independence, but at the same time, make sure he knows we didn't forget about him. So, but he's a good communicator. We don't talk as often, but he's a good communicator. And
and he knows you love
he
him.
knows we love him. I know, but my mind goes into overdrive. I have PTSD, honestly, from your freshman experience. So in my head, I'm like, okay, did I teach him enough? Did I do enough? Is he eating enough? Is
Yeah,
he getting what he needs? Does he have all his books? If he's home on a Saturday night, is it because he has no friends or is it because he's choosing to be home on a Saturday night? My brain is always going and worrying.
I get that, but you're gonna drive yourself crazy.
Ella, the worrying doesn't change just because you guys are out of the house. We're still parents.
Okay, well, is there anything about empty nesting that's been really good so far?
Yeah. Oh, listen, I'm not gonna say I don't love a lot of things. It's such mixed feelings. You have
Yeah,
mixed feelings. There's a lot of loss and it's new, so I'm still feeling that, but I don't have to do as much laundry.
yeah.
I don't go food shopping as much. I've been reconnecting with a lot of my friends. We've been going out to dinner, which has been really nice. We didn't really do that as much, certainly not during the week when we had you guys around and we had sporting events. Dad and I are spending a lot more time together. We don't have you guys at dinner, so we sit down and we have, when he's in town, we have these nice dinners and we just sit and talk, connecting a little bit.
Okay, 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 okay. I didn't know if you're gonna keep going, so I'm gonna stop you there. I don't need any more details about your sex life, so we're
Ella,
good.
I'm not spilling. I'm not
Okay,
spilling.
well, you never know with you, mom. So let me just. It's fine. Is there anything that you would say to other parents that are kind of going through the same thing right now?
Come over for a drink. For me, I've started to think of this period of life as a new beginning instead of an ending. And I
Yeah.
think that's definitely made a difference. It's not like, oh, that whole period that I loved so much with my kids is an ending. Sorry, I'm getting
Yeah.
sad.
No, don't.
Um,
You're gonna make me cry.
but it's a new beginning and it's a good beginning for everyone. It's like
Yeah.
awesome that I'm reconnecting with your dad a lot and we have all these awesome stuff, but it's also like really healthy and good for you guys.
Yes. Well, now I'm gonna start tearing. Okay. When you have like a mom moment, which is what you like to call it, or you're sad, what have you been doing?
Okay, I go and lay on your and Ryan's bed
Oh
and I just read my book in there instead of in my bed because usually I like to like sit up and read and I just like snuggle in your bed and look around and I talk to your stuffed animals.
no! Oh my god.
But I'm not making you sad because I've literally done that twice and it's been a couple weeks. So let's
How's Skunky?
Skunky's great.
Okay,
Skunky's
that
great.
makes me happy.
Yes, Skunky's
Okay.
great. I'm taking good.
Are you cleaning our rooms though?
Oh yeah, cleaning your room, going through everything, emptying out all the drawers, throwing shit out. Um,
I'm gonna warn you now. Ryan told me that he set booby traps because he doesn't want you throwing his shit out.
Ryan set booby traps all over the room. It's so funny. I think I figured out what they are. There's random dollar bills, like, in weird places in the room, and I went in there and I was like, "Oh, he left a dollar bill. Now it's mine because that's the mom theory if you right?
Obviously.
But now I'm like, "Oh, I took $2 bills up, and I bet you those were the booby traps."
Yeah, so he's gonna know when he comes back for a break that you went through his room and he's gonna be mad.
Yes. So, nothing I can do about that.
Stop.
Um,
Well, I love you, mama,
I love
and I miss you a lot.
I love
And I'm really excited. I know this is a new transition and a new journey, but I'm really excited to see where it takes you. And I just want you to know that I'm doing good and I'm happy and I just miss you a lot.
I miss you too, and I know how happy you are. And that's all that a parent wants. But before we go, we're going to
Yes.
try something new that we're going to add at the end of all of our episodes. We're going to do
Love it.
something now that we're not on the same couch.
Yeah.
We're going to do red flags and green flags. It helps us catch up on our week together and lets us know what's been going on and just kind of your red flag and green flag of the week.
Yes. So basically, red flag, green flag is our renamed version of like roses and thorns, which we did as a tradition at all of our family dinners growing up. And I love doing it. So we're kind of reinventing it and we're going to just play this game doing something fun. So in this scenario, the green flags are going to be like your rose or your high point, and your red flags or your thorns or your pain point. So,
All right,
you want to do it?
you go first. What
Okay.
is your red flag and your green flag from the week?
My red flag, in case anybody can't tell, and I hope that you can't, but I have been feeling very sick. So that is my red flag. I just need to get more sleep. I've been taking medicine, so hopefully I get better soon. I would say my green flag is I've been cooking a lot of really good meals in the apartment, and I'm very proud of myself because it's really good for my mental health, but I also like the food's actually good. So my roommate's been giving me a lot of compliments, so I'm not complaining.
I love that. I love that, and I can't wait
Yes.
for you to cook when you're home for Thanksgiving.
Oh, I will be the chef, don't worry. Forget about you and dad, let me do the cooking.
Awesome. I'm all in for that.
What about you?
So I would say my red flag, of the week is that I didn't get my hair colored, and I don't love when my hair is fully gray. It just, like, makes me
Mhm.
feel a little more insecure. I did not have time to do that this week, certainly not before doing this, so that is my red flag, and my green flag is that mangoes are in season. I know that sounds weird, but dad, now that we're, like, alone at night, he's been cutting me up a
The
mango every
mangoes.
night into tiny little pieces, and I
Well, he used to do that for
I know, and I
us.
eat it as a dessert every night instead of, like, ice cream, which I'm obsessed with, so it's been nice to have the mangoes.
Wait, that's really cute, and I wish that he could cut up the mangoes for me.
I'm sure he will do that. Don't get sad,
Okay.
please.
Okay, it's fine. Well, that's today's episode, and we hope that everyone listening knows that no matter who you are, you officially have a friend in us, and we are always here for you.
We'll be back next week with another episode.
In the meantime, keep being real, keep being you, and know that we've got your back.
If you have any thoughts, questions, or just want to say hi, we would love to hear from you. Your support means everything to us. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Chasing Red Flags Official and on Facebook and YouTube at Chasing Red Flags. And if you want to share your story, ask a question, or pick up some Chasing Red Flags merch, go to chasingredflags.com. The Chasing Red Flags podcast is produced by Del Turco. We are new in this space, so if you enjoyed what you're hearing, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or add a comment and like on our YouTube channel.